Well, were there any warning signs of potential fraud in Madoff's firm well before he was accused of scamming billions of dollars out of investors? Our next guest says there were many red flags. Joining us now, Mike Allison, Chairman and CEO of International Business Research. They are a due diligence specialist. Mike, welcome to the program. All right, before we get to a checklist that people can sort of use to guide their own investments down the road, your firm has done some digging. And Madoff on his website basically claimed he went to law school.
Well, in fact, he claimed to have founded the firm after leaving law school. Closer digging revealed that he graduated from undergraduate school in Hofstra in October the 1st, 1960, by his own admission on his FINRA report. Started at his firm in November of 1960, not leaving a lot of time to go to law school.
1 month, basically. And you know, yeah, and also I guess he registered the name Bernard L. Madoff Securities, LLC with FINRA while he was still an undergrad.
Correct. So the firm was founded when he was an undergrad, and he passed his stockbroking license, his Series 7, in March of 1960.
Okay, now listen, he could have gone to law school at night, and there have been reports, I know Forbes, I guess, reported back in, you found in 1989, what, a Forbes story says he went to Brooklyn Law School?
That he attended Brooklyn Law School. We spoke to the registrar there. They said he didn't graduate, that he didn't attend, he didn't apply, he didn't enroll. Some of that might have been lost in the sands of time, but that's what they're saying.
You also found a 1997 story that actually went so far as to call him a lawyer.
Right, and what I would be concerned about, and one of the flags of fraud, is that the investors out there might have assumed some law school training or that he was a lawyer. I don't know where this came from. It might have been some seed that he planted in people's mind's eyes many years ago. In addition, there were signs of him being the world's best paid lifeguard. There is a story going around that he had $5,000 of grub stake capital from saving up, being a lifeguard, and also a water sprinkler installation business. The problem with that on closer inspection is that's about $35,000 in today's money. It's a lot of money for a young man.
So basically he claims to have had $35,000 in today's money from being a summer lifeguard to start the firm.
We haven't seen him claiming it per se, but it is a story that is part of the Madoff mythology.
But the law school thing is still very interesting because according to your timeline, okay, let's get quickly to a checklist. What are some of the things that we can look for, you know, to protect ourselves looking at firms? You got a couple of things you think are key.
Obviously, criminality, past and pending, criminal associations, financial obligations in terms of bankruptcies, tax liens, judgments, lawsuits and the such. Clearly regulatory problems. In this case, Bernard Madoff had an investigation by the SEC in the early 90s. Sometimes it's what you don't see that's important. We found it very curious that he was never an officer or director of a public company. Of course, when you're an officer or director of a public company, you're under the scrutiny of the SEC, investors, analysts, shorts, journalists, and people like us. He was, however, on the trustees at Hofstra and other foundations, charitable foundations and so on, but was never with the public company. And for a man of his reputation, we found that strange. Be careful of people who move around a lot. Be careful of people who have leased assets. Be careful of people who claim they can raise capital from overseas.
And the inability to access real-time information on the website, right?
That was troubling. That's kind of just a little outside the purview of what we would do in the investigative due diligence sense, just as the fact that the three-person law accounting firm was unusual for an enterprise of that size.
Yeah, multiple billions under management, and you have a three-man accounting firm, and one of those three is the secretary, and the lead principal was a 70-some-year-old man living in Florida.
Right. In addition, the controlling elements of the empire were all called Madoff. It was the Madoff family. They didn't appear to be outside boards of directors and things like that, so the independence might not be there. So there were red flags, orange flags. Not a smoking gun so much, but the smell of smoke. There had definitely been the bullets of fraud being fired.
Mike Allison, Chairman and CEO, International Business Research. Thank you very much, Mike. We appreciate it. IBR. Appreciate it. A lot of red flags, a lot of questions about Madoff, including his education.